Matchups to make after UFC Fight Night Taira versus Park. First up, Tatsuro Taira versus Kai Kara France. Tatsuro Taira obviously had a dominant performance over Park this weekend, and Kai Kara France has only just come off a title loss against Alexandre Pantoja, where he was exposed in the grappling, so he needs to prove himself against another grappler. And with Taira looking so good in the striking here, it's time for him to prove himself against an elite striker in Kai Kara France. So it's great to see those styles clash to see who deserves to be moving forward. Next up, Chris Duncan, who had an amazing fight of the night against Mateusz Rebecki, and now it's time for him to move up the ladder to fight Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein has just come off a top 15 loss to Mateusz Gamrot, and now it's time for him to be fighting down. And Chris Duncan is just performing, and he needs a fight against someone that has name value like Klein does, and it's going to be a well-rounded fighter versus a well-rounded fighter. The winner of that gets a crack at the top 15. Next up, Esteban Ribovic putting on another banger against Elvis Brenner, and we need to see him in another entertaining fight where it's just going to be a brawl. So who better than Drew Dober, giving Ribovic some name value in an opponent that does have KO power, so the fans are going to like that. Put that fight on a pay-per-view or burn the UFC to the ground. Next up, Neil Magny, showing that he's still got it, beating Eliseo Deleski dos Santos, and I want to see him fight Chris Curtis next. Chris Curtis just came into welterweight, fought Max Griffin, wasn't overly impressive. He won by split decision, but both Chris Curtis and Neil Magny have name value. They're both going to be entertaining on the feet, and if one of them finishes the other, could be looking at a top 15 shot in the welterweight division. Next up, Carol Rosa, who had one of the best performances on the fight card, and it's time for her to be fighting up the rankings now, and she needs to be fighting Macy Chalson. Macy Chalson has just come off a loss, and it's time for her to be fighting down. Carol Rosa fighting up, and it's time for that top 5 to change up. Next up, Kevin Vallejos, who is my fighter to watch, and his striking looked fantastic against Danny Silva on this card, as it always does, but we really need to see that ground game of his be really tested, and there's no better opposition at the moment than Pat Sabatini, who's coming off a dominating performance over Joe Anderson Brito. So it's time to line these guys up for a styles clash. And here are my